You went like 2 seconds early.
Apparently, it's not the same for both of us.
Premature.
Premature. We're trying a new thing, and apparently the internet is not. There's a lag, is what's happening. It's a lag.
Son of a bitch.
Welcome to Movie Boners.
Hi, Jake.
Hi. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, Jake.
You sound so good.
I know.
Welcome to another week of Movie Boners. What beer are you drinking?
Oh, man. So, I got weird looks at the liquor store.
More than usual?
I was trying to find an appropriate beer because I was like, dude, I've gone like 2 weeks, 2 episodes without having one relevant to the episode, and I feel kind of shitty. So I was trying to find something that would fit.
Last week's was pretty good, I thought.
I
you made it work.
My way through that one like crazy.
You made it work.
Yeah, I did. That's what she said. The jokes continue. So I got weird looks because none of them just seemed random enough, and this one still isn't, but it works. It fits.
Okay.
It's called...
Sounds like BS again.
No, it's not this time. It's called Can You Dig It? There.
Can you dig it? It's like the Warriors.
It's an amber ale from a brewery that I really enjoy down here called Fourth Tap. Sad note, apparently Fourth Tap won't be around much longer, so I saw this. One, it works with the episode, and two, the
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Rip.
But it's pretty good. I really like amber ales. They're pleasant.
Nice. I'm trying to figure out where the frick this brewery is. I realized I had no idea. I've never had it before. Oh, there we go. So I'm like you, wanted to find the most random beer that I could. Right. And I feel like I lucked out and got a pretty darn random one. It's from the Drecker Brewing Company in Fargo, North Dakota. And it's called Pizza Toots. As in pizza farts. That pizza is farting a little rainbow. Yes. And the text is like a metal band like name, especially on the side when it's black. That says Pizza Toots. You can't read it unless you really speak metal.
That is that's fantastic. I'm a little jealous. Is it good?
It is good. I meant to bring a glass because I had it earlier, and it's shockingly unfiltered. Like, it's very hazy. Like, it doesn't say it's hazy. It's just an IPA, India Pale Ale. But it's very hazy looking. Looks pretty unfiltered, but it's good. Nice and bitter, 7%. Tall boy. What can't go wrong?
Tall boy. It's not a true tall boy.
Well, I mean, it's a taller can than average.
True. It's like the tall boy of good beer that you're supposed to enjoy.
Yeah, it's not like a 40 or something.
Right.
Malt liquor. I don't know what that accent was.
Let's
move on.
Ironically, your terrible Australian accent kind of fits in with a couple of my movies today.
That was Australian?
I don't know.
I didn't know I could do an Australian.
You had like a weird I don't know.
I'm going to put that on my resume because I didn't know I could do an Australian accent.
You do that. It'll come out like sad British. It'll be brilliant.
Good day, governor.
Oh, no.
Let's move on.
What if we don't?
So before we get into the actual deets of the episode, and I guess there's housekeeping to take care of.
Yeah.
Number one, I've been warning you for a month, maybe over a month, that we're mixing up the merch store. Which means that
you're not talking to me.
You have been aware for a long time.
Part of this conversation.
I'm talking to the listeners who are also listening to us while we're talking.
Yes.
Hopefully you are aware of that. But we're mixing up the merch store. So that means that this beautiful sweatshirt that is very sweatshirty, and I wear it all the time, is now a relic of the past. It is a limited edition that you will not be able to get anymore, because the entire merch store has been updated. As
well as our awesome glasses. If you did not get this beauty, tough shit.
Tough shit is right. So if you go to our website, you'll see a merch option at the top, and you'll see a refreshed, revamped merch store with our new Doomsday Clock logo.
Or as we like to put it, the Boners Day clock.
Boners Day. And it is a helpful guide if you want to rate things in your life on our scale of 6 to midnight. And we're very excited for it. We may expand this a little bit, but you can get stickers, a brand new glass, hoodies and stuff. So, and the classic stickers are still there with a QR code, which takes other people to the website if you want to spread the word, the good word of the boners. Feel free to do that.
Preach the word of the boners to the masses, people.
Yeah, against their will if it comes to that. Yeah,
I have seen, because I have a couple on my car, and there have been a few times where I've checked out my rear view mirror and I will see people with their phones out doing that. Like,
nice.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a little closer to the car. That's okay. You're trying.
The funny thing about that, and I meant to bring this up like 2 episodes ago when we first came back from break. Yeah. I texted you during the hiatus about a discovery I made, which blew my mind. I thought that our name was extremely unique, and we just came up with it on the fly.
Right.
And the movie Boners with a Z, we just thought was hilarious and extremely unique. And
it is hilarious.
It is hilarious, but it's not as unique as you would think, because I discovered while watching several episodes of Home Improvement, there is a gentleman in show business who is named Peter Boners. I shit you not.
Folks, he's a real guy.
Spelled exactly the same way. Peter Boners is now the patron saint of our podcast.
And the only thing we've enjoyed of his was Home Improvement.
Yeah. He did a lot of the Bob Newhart show, and he did, what else did he do? Murphy Brown. And he did 12 episodes of Friends, actually directed 12 episodes of Friends. But yeah, he's just a wild guy with a hilarious freaking name. Peter Boners. Yeah, the only way it would be better is if he was Richard Boners, and that would just be too much. So Peter Boners is still hilarious. So yeah, I kind of want to make, like, I don't know, maybe we'll make shirt merch.
We got to figure out something to incorporate Peter Boners. Hopefully people won't take it offensively.
It's too perfect.
Shit. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
Okay. What else? Oh, you know what time it is? Movie draft check-in time.
So, folks, I'm gonna give you just a quick little moment here. Jake has been playing with all sorts of different fun new things. So today's episode is brought to you by Jake's Amusement. You're gonna see lots of pop-ups.
It's called production quality.
It is. It's just funny because I know he's gonna just load the shit out of this episode with, and I'm happy for it. It'll be funny. I'm just gonna giggle every time he does it.
Yeah, it's probably going to be sporadic and not well done, but get
that's the Boners way, man. That's our brand.
It's true. So,
all right,
getting into the draft.
I'm a little bitter with our draft right now, just so you know.
Why? Because I am inching away in the rating.
No, because yet another movie just got delayed. Two movies just got delayed on my draft, and now I'm like, well, there goes the rest of my year. That means Jake is probably going to take it because he's.
Are they ones that I'm aware of? Which ones are you referring to?
So Aquaman and Shazam have both been delayed until next year.
Yeah,
which is bullshit.
I did see that. Shazam was like Warner Brothers delayed a bunch of stuff because apparently they ran out of money.
They delayed and canceled so many things in the last couple weeks.
Trying to get their books back in order, it seems like. They have. I read a thing that said they only have enough money to release 2 more movies this year, and they're going to do Black Adam and Don't Worry Darling for some reason, probably because it's cheap to release.
Probably.
So everything else they canceled Batgirl. the Batman Cape Crusader animated series, Bruce Timm one I was really excited about, canceled all that. And then, delayed a bunch of stuff. So that's interesting. But Glass Onion, the Knives Out sequel got a date. Unfortunately, it's 1 week before the end of the year. And that's the streaming date. They don't know when it's going to be. And it's the
streaming date. It's not even the theatrical release.
So I'll be lucky to get any rating out of it. But at least it didn't get pushed to next year. So I got a little bit of a glimmer of hope there.
Yeah.
But you are 600 million in the lead for box office and 0.05 of a point behind in the ratings. So very tight race, I think.
Yeah. I need like the world to hate Avatar when that piece of shit drops, but I feel like so many people are going to love it and that'll make me sad.
I don't know why I got so like bitter and a little defensive when I saw like ads for them re-releasing the original in theaters. I was like, of course, it's been 10 years or whatever. Everybody forgets what the movie is, so they're re-releasing the first one in the theaters.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. And then the second one comes out in December.
Boo.
And I only get 3 weeks to get good box office out of it, so hopefully we'll be all right. We'll see.
Boo. I'm not going to make any prediction because every prediction I've attempted to make based on like trends in the past were all blown up in my face. And I'm mad at this draft. I'm mad at Warner Brothers. I'm mad.
My prediction is that the 4 remaining movies that are supposed to be released this year are not going to be released this year. It's the end of August. There's no way that they're just going to squeak them in. I'm pretty sure they're all going to get pushed eventually. True. I'm very bitter about that. So yeah, we're both bitter at the end of this.
I'm a little bitter at this one. The year was going so great, and then Warner Brothers was like, never mind. Yeah. Have you watched anything new?
Aside from the 10 movies in this episode,
right,
those were all new. But no, I have not. I started watching Prey, and I liked where it was going, but I didn't watch very much of it before getting distracted or getting tired or both. And then I wanted to try to make time for what's that movie called? The Sylvester Stallone superhero movie, Samaritan. I'm very intrigued. I've been intrigued for a long time.
Yeah.
I hope it's good, but I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched that one yet. Well, I did manage to get a couple movies watched in the last couple weeks.
Tell me about
Besides the 10 for tonight, or today, whenever you listen to it. I don't know when you listen to it. Tonight for us. Anyways, so I watched The Gray Man.
Yeah. I was excited for that initially, and then I heard how much it sucked, and I stopped being excited about it.
Yeah.
You concur?
I was really disappointed in like almost every aspect of the movie. I think they try to cram way too much, or no, maybe that's not right. It feels like they weren't quite sure what to do with this story. Apparently it's a whole book series, and it felt very much like when you and I, not to bring this up 2 episodes in a row, but when you and I saw that oh my god, I remember the Tom Holland one.
This is what we said last time, and I said, you mean the one with Daisy Ridley?
And that's one. So it felt like that, but slower. It felt like it was a wannabe Bourne Jack Reacher style, but just not there.
It looked like it was too heavy on the visual effects and just too noisy.
There's some that's a good way to put it. I expected more, especially from that cast, especially from the Russo brothers, but I didn't hate it, but it was definitely kind of boring. Like it's a 2-hour movie, and the whole middle hour and 40 minutes is really like, wow, this sucks. But the ending's okay. And then I watched it for free. That's really the only reason I saw it. I went and saw Bodies.
Okay. How's that?
Obnoxious.
I don't really enjoy what's his face.
Yeah. So it does a good job of like making fun of Generation Z and woke culture. I'll give it credit there. It pokes a lot of blatant fun at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really obnoxious, and that really took me out of the movie where it was like, this is just kind of annoying. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
But then I also watched one of the greatest comedic duos of all time make their comeback this year.
Okay.
Beavis and Butthead do the universe.
Okay.
And that was fantastic.
Okay. Nice.
That was fantastic. I love Beavis and Butthead. But
yeah.
I've always loved Beavis. So.
Big Mike Judge fan.
Yeah.
I think that he's a closet genius.
Beavis and Butthead Do America is very funny. They make fun of woke culture. They make fun of white privilege. And just the Beavis and Butthead style. And it's great. Nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So out of those three, man, Beavis and Butthead, just own it. That was all I watched besides these 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a good intro to this episode, which is we are doing another random 10. If you haven't watched any of the other, or I guess listened to any of the other episodes, because I think they were before we did video, we do this thing where we like to explore for new movies. And the worst possible way to do that is to ask the internet to give us 10 random movies. So I was going to share the like actual thing we use if other people want to try it. It is fun. I really enjoy this.
It's very fun. We are always guaranteed at least one or two that were like, that's not bad. Like, I really enjoyed that. And then we're also guaranteed a few that were like, wow, what was that?
It makes you appreciate good movies even more.
Yeah. It's very fun. It's very random. We don't do it to find great movies necessarily. We do it because it's kind of funny just to see what's out there. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we've ever been like completely disappointed across the board. No. I know we've gotten close.
Yeah. But I think choosing 10 is a good number because we do tend to get one or two good ones and then a bunch of mediocre ones generally, and then some really bad ones. And sometimes the really bad ones are so bad they're good, and sometimes they're just so bad that it's painful.
It's just so painful. And sometimes you get a lot of Richard Gere frontal nudity that you don't need.
Well, to each their own. Some people
still kind of mad about that. True. All right.
So if you want to do this, we just Google. I think if you Google it, it's called Netflix Roulette, which is misleading because it's not just Netflix.
Right. You pick your stream services. So the actual site is called Real Good.
Yeah, Real Good. Real REEL.
Yeah.
But and you can add the services that you have, which is nice. I added all of the free services. There's a quick add all button, and then added a bunch of subscription services and just figured out what I would want to see.
And you can, like, if you're trying to do it where you want to do it a little bit more quality focused than what Jake and I do, you can pick and choose. You kind of narrow your choices down.
Yeah, you could say I want to see movies over 7, which generally are very good movies.
Yeah.
On IMDb or Real Good has their own scoring system, which I haven't paid attention to.
I always pick any score, and then usually you get a lot of like 3.4s, which is fair.
You can also choose your genre if you're in the mood for something. We just do all genres, any score. You can do TV shows, but we only do movies.
Yeah, we only do movies.
And then when you spin, it's so fun because you're like, oh my God, I'm going to watch A Triumph of the Heart, the Ricky Bell story from 1991. It's a biography. It's a 7.2 on IMDb, though, so how bad can it be? Actually, it's a football movie. I might watch that later.
Oh, Lord. He says he will, but he won't, folks. He will fall asleep later.
It's true. But it's fine. That's what it is. And we go, okay, I take note, and I'm going to watch these 10 movies. I did not cheat at all this time. That has been a thing that's come up before, that occasionally a movie is too hard to get through. Okay, I did have one movie where I literally couldn't watch it. Like it gave me this movie that was like an Indian kind of documentary about like a wedding thing, but there were no subtitles, and I didn't know anything. It was in like Indian, it wasn't in English, and I didn't know anything that was going on. I was like, I'm just gonna spin again. Like that doesn't count.
Yeah. I think I've only had the one. I think it was the second time we did this where I had some Indian movie, which, by the way, that was like 2.5 years ago now. And my Netflix for you still brings up movies like that one. And I'm like, the fuck? It was supposed to get filtered out by now. Fuck you, Netflix. Fuck you.
You're writing anger emails. Your algorithm is broken.
Your algorithm's on bullshit. So, like, I will tend to, if it gives me a documentary, I will usually try not to watch the documentary because I'm trying to go with just the movie aspect.
Oh, okay.
Plus, some of the documentaries, I'm like, I don't even understand what the letters in the title mean, which happens. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's like a foreign language documentary, those are touch and go. Yeah. Last time I had a documentary about this guy who wanted to become a black belt before he was 40, and that was really good.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Because he was like, it was like Super Size Me kind of, where he was like fat and gross and decided to like get his shit together, and he learned discipline, and it was good. Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun doing this. You get some doozies. I've got one that I ended up texting you about.
Yeah.
And I
think that's all you said. I watched a doozy, and I was like, is that a good doozy or a bad doozy?
I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you right then. I still don't know where I stand on this one.
Sounds like a doozy.
But it was a doozy. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, folks. Go check it out. It's silly.
Right. Cool.
Should we do it?
Do it. I don't know who wants to go first. Wow, you were really excited there.
Apparently. Dude, I'm in a good mood, man. I've had a great couple weeks. Dude, check this out. You will appreciate the hell out of this.
All right, sir.
So my birthday was a couple weeks ago.
Happy belated birthday, Dustin. I did text you on the day, but
I know you did.
For the podcast, let me say happy birthday.
But my daughter is a badass, and she got me a coffee mug because I'm a sucker for those, but one that is like perfect. Look how
Joy and Abed in the morning.
Yeah. I was like, what made you think of that? She goes, I know you love that show, Dad. And you have the shirt. And I was like, my kid is a badass. I'm so excited with that cup. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just saying.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's get started.
Let's do it. So
who wants to go first? Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So, the first movie I got is from 2018 on Netflix. It's a New Zealand film. Which I had to like triple check to make sure that it was actually New Zealand, not Australia, because I know those people get a little sensitive with that. It's an interesting little movie.
Okay.
So it's about two best friends who run a business where they are professional breaker uppers.
Oh, okay.
Yes, folks, that's the name of the title. I am not just stuttering. That's the name. The first 20 minutes of the movie is very funny. It's great. And then it kind of loses the comedy quite a bit. But it's got some interesting moments. It's got some very dry humor, which I do like dry humor.
Yeah.
They definitely touch on a few that you're like, ooh, I don't know that was funny. But it's an interesting movie because, as you can see in this trailer, their clientele come in and tell them how horrible their relationships are and how they've tried to get out of them, but they just can't. So they hire these guys to come in and create an elaborate, extreme scenario to end the relationship. And one of them ends up kind of second guessing their life choices. As you can see in the trailer right now, she starts to have a little bit of feelings for one of their clients. Ooh. Wow, this trailer really just shows you the whole movie. Damn,
it's the official trailer. I don't know what you want from
God.
Taika Waititi.
Yes, Taika Waititi
just produced it.
He's a producer on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I didn't hate it. It's odd. It's very odd. It kind of reminded me like a rom-com, but for friendship. So kind of in the same vein as I Love You, Man.
Yeah.
But not done nearly as funny. But it's got some good moments in it. Some of the elaborate scenarios that they create are actually kind of funny just because they're so dumb and ridiculous. But yeah, so that was an interesting one. I was like, hey, that's not a bad foot to kick off on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
it's some moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It was nice not hating the first movie out of the gate, you know?
Yeah, that's a good start. I don't know if I could say the same.
Oh, no.
I mean, hate's a strong word, but it's not great. So my movie is called Awaken. It's from 2015.
Okay.
It has Daryl Hannah in it, barely. And she's like the bad guy. And it's about this girl who's beating up people. She finds herself on this island randomly, and she's being attacked or hunted by these military looking guys. And then she meets these other survivors on the island, and they're all also trying to avoid getting hunted by these military guys. Which I wanted to like it because I really like The Most Dangerous Game. I really like those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But it was just kind of, it's a stereotypical low budget movie. What?
It's got that guy in it.
Yeah. There's a couple of times where you're like, oh, that guy. I know that guy.
Was that Edward Furlong?
It may have been.
That they just showed?
Very possibly.
Not him.
You're talking about, hold on, let me go back. The guy with the long hair.
Him!
That guy.
That was Edward Furlong.
I thought you were talking about the guy after that.
Yeah, it keeps him. Yeah. That's
All
Edward Furlong. Look, kids, it's John Connor. Well, look, old people, it's John Connor. For you kids, you probably don't know who John Connor is, and that's a travesty. Your parents let you down.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jake, continue.
John Connor saves the world, so you should really know who that is.
You really should.
Hero. Yeah, so and then there's this whole, it's so weird because these people kind of just live in grass houses in the middle of the island, and the military knows guys, they're not military guys, but they're private army guys. They know they're there the whole time, and they're they brought them to the island to take their organs or some shit for rich people. It's a really convoluted story, and it's overall not very good. Well, Hannah looks like she needed a paycheck, and that's about it. And I guess
all these guys just needed a paycheck.
Yeah, they're not complaining that they did get paid. The fight scene at the end is the most entertaining part, mostly because it's so wild. I'm pretty sure all of the shooting effects were added after the fact.
Yes.
And the hand-to-hand combat's very funny. So overall, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't good by any standards.
But it's not good.
It's not good.
Some of that preview looked hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's not great.
Well, my next one was actually kind of a more popular one that came out. But I never watched it and kind of totally forgot about it and didn't realize it was one that I had actually seen this preview for until I started watching the movie. I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing stuff for this, but it's called Adrift. It is available on Netflix right now. It's based on a true story of this couple who get caught up in a hurricane and they are literally drifting in the middle of the ocean.
What's that guy from?
He's from the Hunger Games.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to look that up too.
Desic? I don't know. Never mind.
Yes. Yeah. The dude with the spear.
With the old lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
But yeah, so I was like, I like Shailene Woodley. I like him in the Hunger Games. He's done other stuff, but I couldn't think of it at the moment. But the movie is shot
sailing.
Interestingly.
Yeah.
Huh?
I like sailing movies.
Yeah. They're sailing, as you can tell.
This isn't really sailing, it's green screen.
It's called crashing and green screen. But the movie's not bad. It was interesting. It's definitely entertaining. It's definitely got some pretty intense moments in it. I think it kind of went under the radar. I think, when I first realized as I was watching it and realized like, oh, I remember seeing stuff for this. And then I started remembering not wanting to see it, mainly because it kind of reminded me like, or I thought it was going to turn out to be kind of like Open Water, which for longtime fans will know that is my all-time most hated fucking movie. Fuck that movie. Oh my God, I hate that movie. But it is not Open Water. It actually has a story that moves along. There's actually a point to the whole thing. I enjoyed it, actually. It's a pretty good survival story. And she does a really good job. She's got some scenes in it that are like, she's intense as fuck, man.
Looks like she has to carry it because her boyfriend gets fucked up. Yeah, nice.
He gets fucked up. But the makeup was pretty good. The acting is really good. It's intense. The story is really good. The CGI gets a little wonky, as you could tell in that preview, but it was forgivable.
All right.
But I would say, like, Jake, I know you dig survival movies.
I do.
That one, I mean, it's nothing like, it's not going to change your life, but
it'll fill an evening.
Yeah, and I actually really like how I like the editing of it. The way they tell the story through the editing is actually really well done.
Okay.
So, check it out, folks.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. My movie, ninth movie, I probably liked even less than the first one.
So it's sounding like I had a much better outing.
So overall, I think it's a little rough in the beginning. It does get a bit better at the end, and my last movie is actually my favorite movie. So not a wash for me. I did really enjoy it overall.
The first movie, or the last movie I watched, would be my favorite 1 out of 10.
Ooh, it's interesting.
Look at
Stick
you and
around, people.
Ooh.
So this movie is called Induced Effect. And the thing that like stood out to me about it is it's weird. We live in a weird time where you can put on a movie and the video cameras are really good video cameras are so cheap now that anybody can make a good shots and good picture. And so first I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good movie. This is a great movie, like a normal movie that I'm about to watch. And then the first person talks, and I'm like, oh, this guy's trying way too hard. He's acting like he's trying to act. And I was like, this can't be good. And,
this can't be good.
That's kind of the whole movie, is that I don't really know exactly what's going on. The overall gist is that
what the hell?
That guy's touching boobs, and then these guys are trying to shoot people. So this guy that this old lady's talking to, if we ever get a reverse shot here, this guy, he's the main character guy, and he is hitting up his friend who works at a hospital to get drugs. Like, not for him, he's like trying to figure out how to make money to pay back some dudes, and he realizes you can just sell prescription drugs. And it like tries to do a little bit of like a Dallas Buyers Club thing where they're like, hey, we're actually helping people that can't afford or like get it through proper channels or all this stuff. But it does it for like 5 seconds and then moves on from it. It's mostly just this guy trying to sleep with the girl or two, and the dialogue is really terrible. This guy, I forget his name, but he's a bad guy in everything. I
know who that is.
The most entertaining part. Guy. Yeah, he is in it for some reason. But overall, I really didn't like it. I was like, can this please be over at any time? It was just... It's definitely obviously low budget. Like, there's the guy who stars in it, and his name's all over the credits. Rashid Stevens. He's just did everything, and so you could tell that like it's his movie. He tried very hard to pull it together, which is admirable. But
I'll show him respect for doing that.
Yeah,
just judging.
It tries like too hard to be funny without any good.
Oh, it's writing. A comedy.
It's like tries to be funny. It tries to be like. What was that movie with Danny Glover and the guy from Get Out and Atlanta, and you know what I'm talking about, where they're like they work at a call center and they like, put on white voices.
Sorry to bother you.
That was like movie. Kind of serious but kind of funny.
Yeah,
at the same
I
time.
was so stoked to watch that, and I enjoyed Sorry to Bother You for the most part. but that movie goes so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, folks, if you haven't seen that one, if you ever want to watch a movie where the last 10 minutes of the movie, you literally are like, what the fuck? That's your movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was just boring overall.
All right.
And all of the jokes that tried to be jokes, it was just like they had to go on too long. Like they didn't know the timing of it. And so I don't know if it was an editing problem or it was a lot of problems. So it's hard to say. I would skip it, I would say.
Don't do it, folks.
Don't do it.
All right. Well, my next movie is the one that I texted Jake. This was The Doozy. Yes, Jake, that's the name of it.
What? Okay, hold on.
Sheborg.
Is this like cyborgs?
There it is. It's that top one. It's that top one.
Oh, wait, that's the whole movie. It's an hour and 26 minutes.
No. Just a trip. Yeah, there she is.
Dude.
Sheborg.
Based on the title alone, I want to love this movie.
It's I don't even know where to start with this movie, all right? It really reminded me of our beloved Bad Taste, where it's so horrible that you can't hate it.
Uh-huh.
But, like, did you see that shot? Do you see these shots? It's got some very entertaining moments that are just so ridiculous and so dumb. But you can tell everyone's having fun with it. So I don't hate it. It's not good. I don't know if I would watch it again. But then again, I might. I honestly do. I have no clue.
There's some stunts in this movie.
Dude, the fight scenes are hilarious because they always start off with a lot of gusto. Mm-hmm. And then you can tell everyone is trying not to actually like hit each other. So they're pulling every punch they throw.
Yeah.
And you can tell. And it's funny. But so Sheborg is about Sheborg, that lady. the one on trial there.
It looks heavily influenced by the Star Trek
kind of
the Borg race in Star Trek.
I would say that's fair. That scene, so that's her introduction scene, and it's one of my favorite moments in the whole movie because she's on trial for something. And she is sentenced to die instantly for whatever space crime she committed. Mm-hmm. And the goth chick that lays down the sentencing, her two guards, she's like, how does she disintegrate her? And they start puking like chunky green random shit onto her. They just like, but it's like that 90s style puking where you can tell that they're just opening their mouths and the tube is on their face and it's just spraying. And it's supposed to melt her or something, but it doesn't because you wouldn't have a movie if it did that. Right. And she crash lands in Australia and these two rebellious women who you can't tell if they're high schoolers or not, or just rebellious women.
Is it an Australian movie?
Yes.
Like they all have accents and stuff?
Yeah. It's in Australia. It is goofy. It's entertaining on just it's so bad that you kind of can't hate it, or at least people like you and I, Jake, can't really hate it. But the funniest part of it is the movie has a catchphrase.
Okay.
And it's the most random catchphrase I've ever heard in a movie. But a lot of the characters, especially the main character, she ran away. She's not on the scene right now. Not Sheborg. It's the redheaded girl.
Okay. Yeah.
Her main catchphrase throughout the movie is "crap my life."
That's funny.
Throughout the movie, she just goes, "Oh, crap my life."
It's probably funnier in an Australian accent.
It is. I can't do one. Yeah. But so Sheborg. Oh yeah, and then there's another detail. Sheborg crash lands in a puppy farm.
Okay.
Which is a part of the movie, and like when she kills people, they turn into cyborgs, so they're like zombie cyborg humanoid things.
I don't think that's how cyborgs work, but
at all. But
it takes a lot of time and effort and technology to build a human being sustained by machinery. But
you know what?
That's just me.
if you are fans of movies such as early Peter Jackson era, you might actually get a big kick out of this one because it's so terrible, but at the same time, you're like, they had fun making it. There's even bloopers during the end credits, which I was like, all right. So it's a doozy. It really is.
I believe you. I do now. That's awesome, though. And it looks like the whole movie is on YouTube. So
it's also on Paramount or on Prime.
Okay.
Not Paramount. It's on Prime.
I will probably watch that because that looks like a good time.
I thought about you, but like almost the whole time I watched it, Jake.
Okay. All right. My next movie is called Crash and Burn. This is the best trailer I could find. The picture does get a little better. Don't worry. Don't adjust your TV sets, people. Crash and Burn
is just a test.
Crash and Burn. Well, the good thing is it has Michael Madsen in it. He's the villain. And it's kind of like if it's for fans of Gone in 60 Seconds and Reservoir Dogs.
Oh.
If you take Michael Madsen, make him the bad guy, he does some similar Reservoir Dogsy things as he does in that movie. And then this main guy is like, he used to run with this crew and just steal cars. He's a big car thief, just got out of prison. Now he's kind of working for the feds, trying to like get into this big car thieving ring and rat them out. And so he's trying to like get his old friends to trust him again, or stay friends. He went through some shit with them, and trying to get past it. It's like so I learned a phrase a while ago called dadcore.
What the fuck is dadcore?
Have you ever heard of dadcore?
No.
Dadcore is like Predator is dadcore. Like it's the kind of movies that you would like your dad would watch or just like put on the TV. It's just a movie that's made for dudes. Like
okay.
And it's like just like kind of just a stereotypical, prototypical movie like that. Okay. It feels like something that would be on like Spike TV or something all the time. Yeah. It's just like, here's a movie. It's got fast cars. Like they've got like this technology. Like it was obviously made in the early 2000s where like cell phones were starting to become a thing, and cars were starting to become more technological. And so instead of just like hot wiring and using Slim Jims and stuff to break into cars, he has he has like all of these doodads. Like he's got like a little gun that will shoot like a little like a radio wave to turn off the cop car that's chasing him, kind of thing. Or he has like a little, it looks like a Palm Pilot that he's using to try to hack into the car to open the door, kind of thing.
Okay.
So they try to like use all of those things. The best part is he has to steal like all these different kinds of fancy cars for Michael Madsen so they can sell them to the Chinese mafia or something. And one of them is in a museum. There's like only a couple of them in the city. It's a prototype, and so they choose to steal the one in the museum, and they steal it by like going in after hours and disassembling it and taking it out piece by piece, kind of like Ocean's 11 style kind of thing.
Oh my god!
So it's overall pretty fun.
Okay.
It's just like if you like cars and shooting people up and boobs and
boobs,
your normal traditional guy movie stuff. So it's not a bad time.
I was about to make a joke of like Fast and Furious, right?
Yeah.
Like his family involved, and then when they do the titles at the end of this preview, it's very Fast and Furious style. Yeah, and that makes me laugh.
Yeah, it's definitely
a good time. This is
definitely Fast and Furious as well. And then like there's this whole like the Mexican gang is like trying to stop Michael Madsen, so they're trying to. There's like a
war going on.
Yeah, there's like a triangle with this Mexican gang and Michael Madsen's like mafia thing, and then the feds obviously. So they're trying to play all sides and get out with his friends and his girl and all that stuff. So
naturally,
the opening was that like car flip, and I was like, I can't hate this movie. It's got cool stunts in it. So there are worse things.
All right, that could be a fun one. That could be a fun one, Jake. That really could.
It's not going to change your life, but it's not a bad time.
My next one is from the 1980s. In fact, actually, it was made in 1980.
I like the name.
It's got kind of a none of that's it.
Not personality disorder. Is it this one?
Is that
1980?
Yeah, 1980.
All right.
They have a restricted trailer for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout Factory.
That scene's awkward as fuck, man. Not that one. There's a hot tub scene earlier in the movie where it's a bunch of like old women naked in a top in the hot tub. It's odd.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's a slasher movie. It's a serial killer movie. This woman plays a columnist who is in a support group, and the members of her support group.
My brain like froze with the way you said columnist. I was like, "Are you trying to say communist?" I don't understand.
No. She writes columns in the newspaper.
Yes, I figured it out.
The newspaper children was this older thing where you got it daily in the morning and you would read it, and it had news in it.
Yeah. It was like a blog that came to your door every day.
Right. Still biased. You still couldn't trust it as much. Fuck them. But it had stuff in it, and it made your eyes work.
The best part, it was
crazy.
The comics section.
And the comics was the best section, and your hands always had kind of like weird ink stains and kind of smelled weird afterwards.
It probably gave you cancer.
It may have. We'll find out in a few years when all of us drop dead. So anyways, it's called Schizoid.
Yeah.
So her support group, everyone in the support group starts getting killed one by one. Okay. And the movie is kind of a whodunit, but not really, because no one's really trying to figure out who's killing people. Like, there's a couple detectives that are very ineffective throughout the movie. It's really just like a slasher movie without being gory slasher movie.
Okay.
Her doctor, that guy, is gross.
Like creepy gross?
And horny. Yeah, he's like sleeping with multiple women in the support group. But when you see the sex scenes in the movie, you're like, this is weird. Like, kind of reminiscent of The Room.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you're just
that doesn't get any weirder than that.
No.
There's boobs in this.
There are boobs in it. There's some weird moments in this movie. It's not bad. It really isn't a bad movie. In fact, I found myself throughout the movie thinking this would be an interesting story or an interesting movie to remake now.
Yeah.
Maybe tweak a little bit of the writing, but don't really change too much. Just clean up some of the writing in it. And I think it would actually be a pretty effective movie.
Is it called Schizoid because they're in like a support group and they're like borderline schizophrenic or crazy, so that nobody believes them, or what?
No, it's called Schizoid because the guy that wrote it thought it'd be a clever title to put on a movie about a killer.
Yeah.
Fair
enough. I gave it more credit than it needed.
Like like the title, I was expecting like, oh, there's got to be some crazy shit that happens in this. Yeah. And really not a lot happens. It's just kind of like, it's like a slow burn 1980s early slasher flick without being gory and graphic.
Seems like there's a lot of scissor murders.
There are scissor murders. Yeah, the killer uses scissors instead of a knife.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like, okay, so that's their standout, trying to hope that their killer like
this is unique.
It's memorable, but this movie I feel was completely forgotten and lost in the shuffle of the 1980s slasher.
It's super craze. 80s because this building has a fallout shelter.
Yeah.
That's 80s. Authentic 80s.
But I didn't hate it. I mean, I'm a fan of like classic style movies like this.
Yeah. Especially slashers.
It's cheap. Budget, like it's a low budget film, but it adds to kind of the fun of it. It's like a more appropriate version of Silent Night, Deadly Night for those of you that might know what that movie is. I would chalk this one up with that one as well.
It's a great Christmas movie.
It's a great Christmas movie if you're kind of fucked in the head. It's a great Christmas movie.
This explains a lot about us.
Okay. Yeah, so that was my movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
My next movie. Oh, here we go. This actually is the right thing. So I don't have a great trailer for it because it was on British TV as a miniseries, but it was recut and put on Amazon as a movie. And so it's the best trailer I could find is this short 20-second TV spot for it.
Okay.
It's called A Mother's Son.
Cool.
And which is a very generic title.
He looks very morose, by the way.
Yeah. So this is The Mother's Son for everybody who's following along at home. That's the mother's. This mother is like remarried or has a boyfriend or something that lives with her. So the kid is, of course, a little bit upset that her mom and dad are split up. The mom and her new husband / boyfriend has other kids. Like he's got 2 or 3 other kids. This guy, a daughter, or maybe 2 daughters, and they all live together. Okay. And so the thing that happens is there's a murder. There's a body that's found on the beach or in the bluffs or some shit.
Jake, I like that you are pausing it and pointing out. See on the screen, it says body found.
Yeah, this is the news network describing that a body was found. The whole movie is just right here on the surface. Shut up. So
I'm not judging you. I just thought that was funny.
So a body's found, and then randomly, it's not really described, but I don't know why. But the mother finds shoes under her son's bed, and there's blood on them. And so she starts to get a little suspicious. Maybe my son murdered this girl, which is not what you would immediately jump to, but she has. I'm giving it like shit, but it is actually a pretty darn good movie. I was actually rather impressed. I thought it was going to suck after the last couple I watched, but this is where it started like turning to be good.
All right.
I thought I liked the risks that it took. I liked where it went, and I liked the ending. I thought it did a lot of things that I didn't expect, so it wasn't predictable, and that's good. Oh, yeah. But so she finds these shoes. There's blood and mud and stuff on them, so she's like hanging on to them for a while, trying to like talk to her ex-husband, the kid's dad, and be like, "What should we do?" and all this stuff, and then she talks to like her new husband. That's the ex-husband. She talks to her new husband and his husband, and he's like, "Well, that's that guy." He's like, "Well, I have a daughter in the house. If your son is out murdering murdering girls, and I don't want my daughter to be murdered," so he gets like a little bit finicky about that.
I mean, he's got a fair point.
Understandably, yeah. And so it does a good job of trying to balance like, does she love her son unconditionally? Of course. Then does that mean that she should like cover up his crime, help him like get away with it if he did it, but she doesn't know if he did it? So does she tell him? She doesn't want to like confront him and like have him pull away from her because they have this whole like tension with the breakup and all this stuff. So it's overall pretty good. I liked it. It's a good movie, especially if you like British drama, like kind of see where it goes kind of movies.
Dude, I'll tell you what, there's some British dramas that are like, they get intense. There's a few of them that you're like, oh.
Yeah. And unlike all the movies so far, the acting is really good. So that helped a lot.
That's got to help.
Yeah.
Well, my next movie, I really did not like this movie. This movie had no clue what
1998?
Yep.
Okay.
This movie has no clue what the fuck it was trying to be, what it wanted to be.
Quality could not be worse.
This is also the movie. If there's one thing that I have kind of learned in 4 of these episodes now, is I'm realizing like there's always an actor that'll pop up that I'm like, you know what? I really don't like you. Now I've always known
Sexton the Third.
No, I've always known that
He's
I'm not
a funny name.
Casey Affleck fan.
Yeah.
But I really don't like that guy. I just don't think he's that good. He's he's in this as a whiny, not teenager guy.
Is he an angsty teen? Hey, it's Ethan Suplee.
Yeah. So Ethan Suplee's in it. Kate Hudson is in it. Christina Ricci is in it.
Ooh, blast from
that
the
guy
past.
was in it. It's got a few people that you're like, oh, I know who that dude is.
Yeah.
So let me try to tell you what this movie is about.
Okay.
And you're going to be like, what the fuck? And that's exactly what I thought. So keep in mind, this movie is just under 2 hours, if I remember right. Maybe not even that. I think it might be like an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay.
So this movie has like 4 or 5 storylines going on all at the same time, and they never actually focus on most of them. So the first storyline is a father and his actress daughter are on a road trip across America to find weird roadside attractions. Kate Hudson, that's her and her dad. They are coming to this tiny town to see the world's largest ice cream cone. You saw the world's largest ice cream cone. It was not that spectacular.
While it's not even like real. It's just
it's a giant
paper mache.
Yeah. While they are visiting this town, they meet these quirky town folk. And
townies.
When I say town folk or the townies, this town is literally like a street.
Yeah.
That's all you see of this town. So the father and daughter get quarantined in this town because a semi-truck driving a conglomerate cola crashes and spills, and the driver of the truck dies unexpectedly and mysteriously. So the FBI get called in to quarantine this town and keep everyone there. But their quarantining is only like 3 or 4 FBI agents that show up and sit on the one part of the road. And then the other storyline is there's a hotel that has burned down, and the insurance company is questioning whether it was an accident or done on purpose. So they're trying to investigate that, where the guy who owns the hotel and the local sheriff team up to try and figure it out themselves. And then the main character, he is trying to build a water park his dad wanted to build in this town out of, like, in remembrance of his dead dad. But all the water from the reserve or whatever is actually being funneled into the Cola's factory, which is also in this town across the way from the water park. That's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's a random shooting that happens that has 0 consequence. I fucking hated this movie. It was so boring. It was so dumb. I was like, maybe I should just, when I see Casey Affleck as like a title character, maybe I skip it. I think the only thing I've really loved that he's been in was the Ocean's movies, and he's not even like a big part of them.
I was going to say the only movie I can think of that I love, even though he's in it, is Interstellar. And it's kind of because his character, he's supposed to suck. And so you're supposed to not like him.
And you kind of forget that he's there, like I did. Because there's so many better things happening in that movie. But I just don't think I'm a fan of his. And this movie just like, it's one of those independent films where you're like, good on you for making your own thing. Why did you make this your one thing? Like, this movie is just bad.
It seems to have like a lot of kind of stereotypical like stuff of the time, like angsty teenagers, kind of quirky town. It's just kind of a late 90s, early 2000s kind of movie.
I really hated that movie. I was like, God damn it. Sheborg was so much better.
Okay. My next movie, are we still on 5? Yeah, we are. I really liked. It was a documentary, which I was a little bit surprised about. I didn't really know what it was going to be until I started watching it, because I saw the title. It's called Stars in the Sky. And I was like, well, that sounds kind of like a scary movie, like a space movie or something. It's not. It's a documentary. It's called Stars in the Sky, A Hunting Story.
Okay.
It's a documentary about hunting, and it has a bunch of like interviews. It's made by a guy, which I don't know if they showed him yet. He like just likes talking about hunting to people And so he's in it, his brothers are in it, and then he gets all these other people in it. And you kind of get a really good sense of a wide variety of hunters. Like anybody can be a hunter. It's not like a certain person, like a certain stereotype. Lots of different kinds of people are hunters. And yeah, Joe Rogan has a short interview in it. There's a lot of different interviews from a lot of different people. And it's really, really interesting. This guy is like a philosopher and all this stuff. That guy's a congressman. There's just like a lot of different people talking about hunting, about like the history of hunting, about why they like hunting, how they were brought into it. And I think it's just a really good movie about if you are like curious about it, or even if you're anti-hunting, I think it just gives you a really good perspective of like who these people are, what they're doing. There's a very distinct paradox in hunting, which I've always like thought was interesting, but also I understand why people are thrown off by it, which is hunters love nature and they love these animals and all this stuff, and they literally like face it head on. How can you love these animals and kill them at the same time? And so they try to like describe what it is, what it means to them, what it means to be a hunter, how they're caring for the animals and the nature and all the stuff, and how they get food. Yeah, like it's always about food, and they talk about like trophy hunting and stuff too, which is interesting to kind of get the different sides. But it's a really, really well put together documentary with a lot of different perspectives. And I really, really liked it. I watched it twice. I watched it once, and I was like, this is really good. Christy, you'll like this. And so I watched it with my wife as well.
Oh, nice.
She liked it too. So it's awesome. I highly recommend Stars in the Sky: A Hunter's Story.
That's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
My next one is the kind of movie that I would typically just absolutely fucking hate with everything inside of me. And I did not. I did not hate this movie.
Hot take.
It is cheesy as hell. Is that it?
I don't know.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So it's a Canadian style pseudo Hallmark movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
About this, again, tiny town.
Mm-hmm.
Who have like this real small local paper, and there's an advice column in it called Dear Viola, and that woman ends up kind of taking over the column, but she does it in secret, like only her and her boss and this random black lady that lives with her know. They never quite explain like her relationship with this lady. She takes care of her because she's got like health issues, and that's pretty much where they leave it.
Yeah.
But anyways, she takes over this column, gives this old column that's kind of a town tradition. She gives it a little bit of a new spark, some new life, if you will. And the town becomes obsessed with the column even more so than they already were. Okay. And this man ends up writing into the column, trying to talk about he's lost his wife, and he struggles being a single father, especially with the fact that he was so in love with his wife, and every time he looks at their daughter, he only sees his wife, and he's not sure. He feels like it hinders him in his parenting and living abilities, and she kind of calls him out on a bunch of shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute movie.
Yeah.
Like, I found myself, like, it's got some good things to say, whether you're, like, single or in a relationship. It has some good stuff to give you. Mm-hmm. It is kind of preachy and super cheeseball in some of it, but you forgive it when you understand the style, which, watching this trailer, I would hope you totally get the style.
Yeah.
It's, but it wasn't bad. I really like the musical score, even though they overuse it for an hour and a half, but it's a pretty little score. It's a cute movie. It kind of reminded me of some elements from like You've Got Mail.
Yeah, I was going to say Sleepless in Seattle with the dead
or
wife
Sleepless
angle.
in Seattle. Yeah, so it's got some cute moments. The daughter's real adorable. I
like when she has her like ponytail slightly to the side. She looks like Deb from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes. Yeah. I think what I appreciated the most about this movie is it's like for adults, like not 20-year-old rom-com kind of stuff. This is like late 30s, like mid 30s to early 40s kind of rom-com, which I actually really appreciated and respected because, you know,
that's your demographic now.
You get old and that happens. I was like, hey, it's not like teenagers. Cool.
Yeah.
It's got a cute approach to it. And
that guy is handsome too.
Dude, his daughter is fucking adorable. And I was like, and you know me, anytime there's like a father-daughter relationship in a movie, like if it's cute or well played or just well written, like I'm a sucker for it. So when this movie ended, I was like, God damn it. I should have hated the shit out of that movie, but I did not.
All right.
It's a cute date movie. Like, I don't know. You can watch that and then watch like a slasher flick. I don't know. You got to balance, right? You got to have balance.
Totally.
So, Dear Viola. I can't remember where I watched that. It was.
Yeah, we haven't really been saying.
That one was available on Prime.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. My next movie is from the 50s, and it's called The Aztec Mummy. I actually couldn't find a trailer for it, but it's part of a trilogy. So this is a trailer for Curse of the Aztec Mummy, which shows a lot of the same scenes. I think they do a lot of recapping or something.
Oh, okay.
So it's very much, it's old, black and white from the 50s. It's made in Mexico, so it was dubbed in English for me, but you could tell all of the cast and crew and all, it was directed and written by all these like Mexican people. Produced in Mexico. It's a Mexican movie. The best part is this guy. So there's a lot to say about this movie. It's a little bit wild. The overall gist of it is that it's kind of like obviously inspired by the Universal monster movies, The Mummy, things like that.
Right.
It's about like there's a mob boss kind of guy who wants to unearth this Aztec gold, and to do that he needs to figure out where the gold is. So through hypnosis he's able to like go back to find someone who is related to somebody who was actually in Aztec times and knows where the gold was in the Aztec temple. That's that flashback there. So he uses hypnosis. He finds a doctor who uses hypnosis to get this information so he can get the gold. That's plot line number one. Plot line number two is my favorite part, which is this guy. There's a luchador Mexican wrestler who wears a mask and cape, and he uses this outfit to hide his identity. And he talks on his like radio watch. He talks to like this kid who's kind of his sidekick, and he's like a little Robin guy. And the luchador is like a superhero. He's like a crime fighter that goes around. Everybody knows who he is.
Shit out of that guy.
Yeah, his name. He's called the Angel, and he's just the best part. Obviously, I love wrestling and luchadors in general, but the fact that he's like a superhero crime fighting luchador, that he gets like stuck above a pit and he has to call this kid to come help him. Yeah, it's really fun. That's the bad guy on the left. Like he's just like gets this doctor to hypnotize this chick to get the gold information. Right. It's a wild ride. Apparently, it's the actual mummy is barely in it. They do have a mummy, like an Aztec mummy, that shows up. He's more like a zombie, to be honest.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, they kind of like it, and it's kind of interesting. They try to balance the different aspects of.
It's like those kinds of shots, dude.
Yeah, sorry. It's like they were like. The mummies are in pyramids, and there are pyramids in Mexico, so we'll just have Aztec mummies, even though I don't know if they ever mummified anybody.
I don't think the Aztecs actually practiced mummification.
I could be wrong. Have pyramids, and that's close enough. Yeah.
Dude, him sucker punching that guy is amazing. Yes.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. And yeah, it's part of a trilogy that they
Okay.
filmed like all at the same time. There's like Peter Jackson stuff. They filmed it all at the same times with the same cast and everything. It's kind of fun, and I kind of want to watch the rest. It's just a good. If you like 50s monster movies
Dude.
with a crime-fighting wrestler, it's up your alley.
I feel like that's it. That is unique enough to be a selling point right there.
Right. I was like, oh, I'm in for just the Mummy zombie movie, but you had a crime-fighting wrestler, and it's my favorite movie of all time.
I like it, Jake. I like it. And I love those like classic style monster movies. So I remember, I think it was the second or third one we did of these. I watched a movie called, The Cat People or something like that. That one was a lot of fun.
Cat Girl, I think.
Cat Girl. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. My next one is a little sci-fi flick called 2149: The Aftermath. Oh wait, it was actually called ESC. Oh wait, they changed the name again to Darwin. Oh wait, they changed it to Confinement. Oh, never mind. Finally, 2149: The Aftermath.
Jeez Louise.
Yes, the movie got renamed 4 times.
I've had that where it's like, I'm trying to find this movie. It has a title. Oh, you changed the title. It's so confusing.
Yes.
I had that like one other time. I haven't had 4 though. That's crazy.
Yeah, this one had 4 different titles. It's an interesting movie. It's pretty basic, honestly. So it's sometime in the future, dystopian future.
It's not
right?
sometime. It's 2149. Obviously.
It's a dystopian future in Canada.
Oh.
They never actually say what year it is. It's literally like, I think they only called it 2149, hoping that we'll all be dead by the time 2041 or 2149 comes around. We won't be alive for it.
That was a marketing move. The writers had nothing to do with it.
Yes. So it's about this guy named Darwin who, as a young child, is put in like this weird protective pod and with a giant computer and a bodysuit that has a keyboard built into the legs.
To the legs?
Like his legs. So you'll
Not
see in
your
this trailer,
arms.
he like types on his suit and the keyboard is on his thighs.
All right.
So he grows up in this protective pod because they are told that the air is bad outside.
Okay.
There's no explanation of a government. There's no explanation about anything. It's just the air is bad for you. You will die. Don't go outside.
This says it's 9 years after the Great War.
They never talk about a war.
Which everybody knows the Great War was 1914. But
they never
there's
talk about
Great War, the sequel.
He's got a voiceover, like an old man voiceover, and it's very vague.
Okay.
But anyway, so he grows up in this room. He hates his life. He looks like he's about to kill himself if he had the tools to do. See?
Oh yeah, you're right. Wait, that's like I like his little texting.
Yeah. Well,
phrases.
he doesn't. So when you meet Darwin, he hasn't spoken a word in 9 years.
Okay.
So this is all he has.
I wish you were
okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And this freak storm happens that kills his computer, which kills his oxygen supply, and he is forced to go outside into the dangerous world of like nothing. There's nothing. He has a job where he remote controls a tractor, which is not a futuristic tractor, by the way. It's literally the kinds of tractors you see on construction.
A John Deere.
Yeah. So he goes wandering into the world. Obviously, from the trailer, he encounters people and realizes the air is not bad. And the movie is just kind of him interacting with this small group of people. And there's weird drones that hunt people, so they have to like stay in hiding. It's not the worst sci-fi movie. It's a pretty bland sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
That scene that you just saw there in that trailer, that actually is like not an exciting moment in the movie. That's a bad dream. Spoiler, like he's having a bad dream right there.
All right.
His acting, I was like, he's trying really hard.
Mhm.
And I was like, I recognize this guy, but I can't place where I recognize him from. But I've seen that face. And he happens to be from one of my favorite movies. I've talked about it several times on this show, called The Descendants. He plays the dumbass stoner friend that tags along with George Clooney and his daughters to find. Yeah.
Who was the best actor at Catalina Film Festival?
Sure. For maybe who was stoned off their ass the whole time. I don't know. I haven't.
Catalina Film Festival.
I haven't seen him in anything other than this and Descendants. But
Emmy nominated Molly Parker. You can tell it's Canadian because I don't know what Genie nominated means.
Yeah, I have no clue. No clue.
That's not a thing.
But it's not the worst sci-fi. It's a pretty bland sci-fi.
Decent visual effects.
Yeah, the CGI is not the worst either. It's a little sketchy on a few parts, but
better than I could do.
It was an interesting movie. The story was kind of like, oh, all right. They try to throw a couple twists into the movie that when you see the twist, you're kind of like, okay, so effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't hate it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
But yeah.
Exciting.
I think that one was on Prime too.
All right. My next movie is actually from this year, 2022. Ooh. It's called 1,000 Little Cuts. And at first I thought there was going to be a lot of overlap with that movie I hated about the guy selling drugs, and there were just similarities between them. I was like, oh no, here we go again kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I ended up not hating this movie. It's pretty good. It's interesting enough, at least. Okay. So it's about this girl. She works at it's a company that sells like supplements, like vitamins and stuff, but they're obviously very sketchy about like they can't actually promise that it helps you because that's like legal stuff. So she like has to do copy editing to make sure that they're actually following the rules and all this stuff. Okay. And everybody's kind of like a dick to her. Her boyfriend cheats on her. Like this is where she's walking home with her friend and discovers that her boyfriend's cheating on her. The whole movie is kind of told in the past. So that quick clip where she's in the hospital room, that's you like discover that she's in a hospital room and she's trying to remember like why she's there. She's like, oh, I was just on a run.
So she's like connecting dots.
Yeah, she's like, I went for a run because I walked in on my boyfriend cheating on me and got pissed off and broke up with him, and so then I went for a run and I twisted my ankle and now I'm in the hospital. Oh, and then through the course of the movie, she kind of realizes that she's what's that thing called where you're like a non-reliable narrator? What's that called? You know what I'm talking about?
A liar?
No, there's like a writing plot device where she's like an unreliable. You would think that she's a reliable source as the narrator telling the story, but she's not because she actually doesn't remember what happened. Oh,
I know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's a thing, guys. It really is.
She's that. So she realizes that. Well, she doesn't realize, but we as the audience realize because she's talking to, which you don't see in the scene, she's talking to a therapist who's like trying to help her. She's like, why am I talking to a therapist when I just twisted my ankle? And apparently a bunch of other shit happened and she has to like try to remember. And through the course of the movie, you're like, oh, actually, you weren't on a run from your boyfriend breaking up with you because a whole bunch of stuff happened after that. And then you had a whole other relationship and then you ended up in the hospital and it was pretty traumatic. And so now this therapist is trying to help you connect the dots so that you are like you don't go crazy kind of thing.
Wow. And so this movie should have been called Schizoid.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Okay.
And so she's trying to like connect the dots through her whole experience and a new relationship with this guy, handsome McHandsome Pants. And then she's talking to this therapist, and the therapist like clues you in that she doesn't really know what's going on. She's like, "Oh shit, my ankle's not twisted. It's actually my leg was broken. How'd that happen?" And you realize that there's more than meets the eye because the therapist is talking to this detective. That's the detective guy. And
she like, murder her boyfriend?
Well, the detective's like, just stop trying to like lead her back to her answer. Like, let's just go in there and talk to her and close the case, kind of thing. And the therapist's like, no, she needs time. It's traumatic. We need to get there on her own time, kind of thing. Yeah. So trying to buy time. So she's trying to like figure out why she's there on all this stuff.
She's a killer.
She's not the killer.
She's a killer.
I take that back. She does murder her boyfriend.
I knew it.
Spoiler alert for this movie. She does murder her boyfriend, but the movie doesn't really treat it like she murdered her boyfriend. I feel like she certainly murdered her boyfriend. The problem is there's this guy. The poster is like she's on a run and there's like a creepy figure behind her. So I was like, oh, it'll be a horror movie with like someone following her. It's not really at all. There is this guy that kind of like stalks her that she met on a run. She met a couple of times. She kind of blew him off. He's kind of like a dick and didn't like that, and like I guess feels entitled to talk to her or something. So he
broke her leg, and then he may have killed the boyfriend. And
okay. Spoiler alert for the end of the movie because they show it in the trailer. He breaks into the house with a gun for no real reason.
Wow.
He has a pistol. He breaks into the house. She is fighting with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is abusive. So a lot happens in this movie. This guy, handsome McHandsome Pants, is like actually abusive. Like he will like slap her or like push her or like do all this stuff and she's obviously very uncomfortable with it, but doesn't do anything about it really. So he's abusive to her. They meet. I thought they showed it in this trailer. They meet his like ex-girlfriend at like a bar. And apparently I'm going to tell you about this whole movie. Yeah, this chick. They meet her at a bar, and she like looks back. She looks back and like seems like she wants to say more. And this is before he's abusive. And I was like, 100% this guy's abusive. Like she wants to tell her you shouldn't be in a relationship with this guy.
Get the fuck out, chick.
Yeah. She doesn't. She feels bad about it. Comes back later after she's been abused. But yeah, at that point, I was like, oh, I see where this is going. So the thing about this movie is that every male character is bad.
Oh, it's one of those.
Yeah. As soon as at first I was like, I kind of like this movie. It's interesting. It's going in a good direction. Her boss is like, he's kind of stringing her along. He's like, oh yeah, I'll let you like, come to me and like we'll talk about you getting a promotion, become a copywriter instead of a copy editor. And then he just like goes to play golf and like blows her off, and she's like, he misses her appointment, and it constantly like
dick.
It's just kind of like constantly a dick. The detective guy is trying to rush the therapist. He's like, hey, I just want to close the case. The jogging guy we already talked about, he feels like entitled to her talking to him and wants to like ask her out, but she like is blowing him off. And then obviously the boyfriend's abusive and the other boyfriend cheats on her. So there's like no good male characters in it. The therapist's husband seems like he's good. And then the therapist is like, oh, well, the detective wants me to rush it. And then he's like, well, did it help her to tell her? And she's like, well, yeah. And he's like, oh, well, there you go. And she's like, no. So I don't know. It kind of sucks.
No.
No, don't tell me what to do, man. But so the whole thing is like 1,000 little cuts is like she dealt with all these 1,000 little cuts to her dignity from her boss and her boyfriend and the abusive boyfriend. So spoiler alert for this movie, because you don't need to watch it. It kind of sucks. But I mean, it's not terrible, but it also is not real. Like, so when this guy breaks in with the gun, they're having a fight. Like, she had already broken up with the abusive guy.
Mhm.
he isn't like stalking her. Like he isn't like trying to like get back with her. So even though he was abusive to her, I don't feel like she was afraid for her life or physical safety or anything like that. She texts him. She's like, "I miss you." He comes over. They have this whole conversation, and then the dude
Kicks the door down.
The jogging dude kicks the door down, and ends up they wrestle for the gun.
Oh, someone gets shot accidentally, huh?
She tells the detective that guy shot her boyfriend, and then she shoots the guy and could save her boyfriend. But you find out later, she tells the therapist, well, actually, he didn't shoot my boyfriend. We did wrestle for the gun, and I did shoot the guy who broke into my house. But then my boyfriend was just laying there, knocked down, and I had the convenient ability to kill my abusive boyfriend, and did. And I murdered him. And then the therapist covers it up for her because the detective walks in and they're like, nothing happened, no big deal.
Double tap, folks.
Yeah. So that's the whole movie I just told you about.
Dude, that was the most like you were like you dissected the shit out of that whole film with a minute and 38-second trailer.
It helps that they show you pretty much everything
the whole
in
movie.
The trailer. Yeah. It helped me remember exactly what happened because they show all of it. But the acting overall is good. I bought this girl the whole time. She's obviously, she has got a broken phone. She's trying to move up in the world. She's kind of feels like she can't move forward. All these people are holding her back. So it was generally good, but also a lot of it didn't make any sense. And it was kind of a man-hater movie. So whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Well, I was genuinely excited for this one.
Oh, I like that guy.
Because one, I have learned I'm kind of becoming a pretty decent fan of A24.
Yeah.
The production company. Not all of their movies are great. I'm not going to say that. But I have been a big fan of a lot of theirs. So when I saw A24, I was like, ooh. When I found out it was a political thriller, I was like, ooh, because I love me a good political thriller. It's got, like, it's an interesting story. So I was also... I
will say, when you see Ben Kingsley, it could be great or it could be garbage.
And that's where I went with that. I was like, ooh, this is either going to be amazing or it's going to be like, oh, dear Lord, what did they do?
Yeah.
It is neither. Actually, wow, I went real, like, neither. It's neither.
Neither. Is that your British accent?
Neither. That's.
Move on.
I lost my train of thought. Neither. I had to one more time. I'm sorry. So it's about this dude who gets a job at the UN as part of this program called Oil for Food. It's based on a true story. The Oil for Food thing was a real thing in 2002 in the UN. So this movie takes place right kind of towards the beginning of the time when the United States was going to invade Iraq to go after Saddam Hussein. Okay. So he plays this UN employee who starts finding out and kind of uncovering things about the Oil for Food program that's actually giant corruption. Like a lot of payouts, a lot of bribes, a lot of stuff, all tied with different factions of terrorism and all that. And so the movie is really just him trying to navigate kind of his own morals, if you will. Like, do I just ignore this and let it continue happening because there are some benefits coming out of it, or at least he tells himself there's benefits coming out of it?
Yeah.
Or does he try to like confront it and put an end to it? It's an interesting story. I will say it was it was interesting to see a political thriller based on the Iraq War. Mm-hmm. One that does not take like sides. So it's a political thriller without being overly preachy one way or the other. I really kind of respected the fact that they just showed this employee's kind of story without doing all that other stuff. I kind of respected it a lot for that. But he does get like talked to by the CIA. They're like, hey, we know you're new. Just kind of keep your eyes open. We think there's some shady shit going on. He's like, whatevs, but in a way more serious way. And it's an interesting movie. Like, if you like political thrillers, you'll probably find a lot of positives in it. It does get a little messy with the writing, where you can tell, like, obviously this part probably didn't happen in real life. Right. Maybe not this specific part in the trailer, but there's moments in it where you're like, oh, this feels super embellished by Hollywood, which was kind of a letdown, because it sucks when you can tell scenes are like really embellished for the sake of Hollywood. But it's got some interesting things. I did not hate it. I wasn't super impressed by it, but
the explosion looks fake as fuck.
Yeah. I did like they try to splice him into like real footage. They splice a lot of actual coverage footage into the storytelling. Okay. Which I kind of enjoyed. But it's an interesting movie. If you like political thrillers, it's not the worst one you will watch. I will say that.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that guy in more stuff since the young adult series with Shailene Woodley. What was that called?
Divergent.
Divergent.
So the whole time I was like, dude, I feel like this guy is a huge actor. Where do I know him from? Because I know his face. And I was like, he did Divergent. What else? And I was like, that's literally the only thing I know this dude from.
Yeah. Kind of surprising.
But he does a pretty good job. The acting is actually pretty well done. Yeah, that
actually,
kind of stuff.
I take it back. He's in a good movie with hold on. Who's that guy?
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy?
Who's that guy?
It's Jess. No, who's that guy? Black guy. Forrest Whitaker, thank you.
Wow.
I was going to say with the
guy?
weird eyes,
Jake.
that was going to be worse, but...
Jesus Christ.
What? It's not wrong. It's true.
I know. I just think it's funny.
Okay, is it this one? How It Ends. He's in How It Ends with Forrest Whitaker in 2018. That was a pretty decent movie.
I've never even heard of How It Ends.
It's on Netflix. In the midst of an apocalypse, a man struggles to reach his pregnant wife, who is thousands of miles away. And his pregnant wife is Forrest Whitaker's daughter. And they don't love each other, but they have to travel together during this apocalyptic event. It's decently done. The apocalypse part seemed pretty realistic, so I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Small plug. You don't expect honorary mention during a Rain 10 episode, but there you go.
There you go. So, backstabbing for beginners. Not bad.
Okay, my next movie. Hold on. Are we on this second to last? Yeah. Okay.
We are.
You might laugh at me because this is a pretty big movie. I'd never seen it. Didn't even know it existed. So you may have heard
You've never seen
before.
Well, you've never heard of, that's what I mean. You've never heard of 1941?
I've never heard of 1941.
No fucking way. Really?
No,
With John Belushi, Steven Spielberg?
Correct.
Really?
I found out Steven Spielberg directed it. I was like, I can't believe Steven Spielberg directed a comedy that's kind of a farce parody comedy, kind of like Canadian Bacon and those kinds of movies about the beginning of World War II and how everybody in America was kind of at this panic that Pearl Harbor had just gotten attacked and they're trying to protect America. It's funny. I'd never heard of it, never seen it. It is really, really funny. I liked it a lot.
I've never watched it, but yeah. It's got John Belushi.
It's got a bunch of SNL-y kind of, especially early SNL. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, John Candy. It's if you like Stripes or Canadian Bacon or anything like that, I think you'll like this movie for sure. I watched it kind of a weird way. So it was on the free, what was it? Is it Crackle? It was on Crackle, and I was like, it had commercials, and I was kind of annoyed by that. And I was like, this movie is funny. It's good. I feel like I should have it. So I just got it. Yeah. And then I realized that Crackle's version, it didn't have subtitles for the Japanese and German parts where it should have. And it had commercials which sucked, and apparently it's just like the theatrical version. The version I watched later was like a director's cut version of it, because it had like extra scenes, or scenes that I had left off on weren't there anymore. So it was a little confusing, but it is really, really funny. Overall, it's kind of just like a wild World War II farce, parody, not parody, but just like a farce kind of movie about Americans trying to defend their country from the Japanese who are trying to invade Los Angeles and Hollywood, but their compass breaks and they don't really know where Hollywood is. And Dan Aykroyd's like, his unit just like are trying to set up anti-aircraft like weapons on the coast of California.
Oh, I'm loving this trailer, dude.
It's really, really fun. Like, even the fact that Steven Spielberg directed it is even more crazy to me.
Yeah.
I first of all, because I didn't know that it was a comedy, I just saw 1941 war movie. Sounds good. This opening like scene, it's like all foggy. It's this basic scene, and this girl is just like driving down to the beach to go skinny dipping. And I was like, oh, this is just like a normal movie. The music is normal. And then it starts playing the Jaws theme as she's like in the water. And then this submarine rises up below her. I was like, this isn't a serious movie at all. I was like prepared for a serious war movie.
That's fantastic that they played that, because Jaws would have come out like 2 years before this.
Yeah. And the fact that it's Steven Spielberg, it's just amazing. It's really funny. I liked it a lot, and I can't believe I never heard of it. So if you've never heard of it, definitely watch 1941. You'll enjoy it.
I've heard of it. I've just never watched it. But it's one, like, even my dad has told me numerous times, like, you need to watch this movie. You will really enjoy it. I'm like, I know. I just don't know why I never saw it. I like that. Well, my next one, I thought, man, of my all 10, I think Jake is going to have the most respect, and he may have already actually watched this movie.
You have the weirdest movie names during this episode.
Dude!
I have not seen this, although I do appreciate that Dick Van Dyke was in the photo.
Jake, you'll love this movie. You will love this movie, just so you are aware.
Okay.
It's called Fitzwilly.
Yeah.
This was a pretty delightful movie, actually. So it was made in 1967. It's about this butler named Fitzwilly, played by Dick Van Dyke. Wow. Is this a trailer? This can't be the trailer.
It says original trailer.
Dude, they're playing like a whole super important sequence in the movie. Oh, there we go. A trailer actually started. Okay. So he plays... All right, bear with me. He plays a butler who kind of runs this household for this very wealthy older woman. The woman is actually not wealthy, though.
I didn't know Abercrombie and Fitch was around back then.
Yeah, so she's flat broke, but to maintain her lifestyle and to make sure her quality of life stays well, because the household cares about her so much and have been with this lady for like their whole lives. The staff, the household staff, actually, they're criminals. They're thieves.
Oh.
So they set up little like capers every day to bring in constant money. Some of it is like trading, expensive silverware, charging it to different people, and then selling it to another company. He plays a priest that is also a part of the household. And then they also set up like a fake charity where they sell Bibles and stuff, and people write checks in. And he does all of this just to maintain the older lady's lifestyle so that she has a quality of life that she's used to. It's a silly movie. And then the old lady, the whole movie, like the plot of the whole film really kicks off when the old lady gets the itch to hire a new secretary to help her write a book. And the secretary is an outsider. So the whole household staff is like, we can't trust her. We got to get rid of her. and she ends up kind of like her and Dick Van Dyke kind of have a like love-hate relationship right out of the gate. It's a cute movie, dude. Like
girl?
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's funny. It's one of those just nice, quiet, feel-good, pleasant movies. Like you just, if you have like a bad day or just too much going on, this is the kind of movie that you would pop on and just be like, all right, I'm calm. It's silly. It's fun. It's innocent. Jake, I thought of you like the whole movie because it's right up your kind of movie time period. It's Dick Van Dyke. And I'm
in love with it already.
Dude, he goes into a couple like costumes at one point. It does take place during Christmas time, which I had to laugh at myself because I'm always like, no Christmas movies until Christmas season. And then this movie popped up and I'm like, oh my God, it's Gimbals at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Jesus. But like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite ones that I've watched in the like 4 episodes that we've done this.
Wow.
Fitzbilly was up there. I really enjoyed it. It's a very pleasant film, and it's silly. It's fun. There's some parts to it where you're like, I wonder if this is where some of like, heist films kind of took a couple little fun things from this one. If this was like a quiet inspiration for some movies, but
yeah,
Jake, you would love it. I really think you'd just dig the hell out of this movie, dude.
Yeah, I'm in love with it already. I've never heard of it, and I'm kind of surprised by that.
I'm surprised by that too.
Watching Dick Van Dyke in this, I'm just reminded of how incredible he is. He just kind of was unbelievably hilarious and able to hold your attention. It seems like in the vein of like Never a Dull Moment, which I think was a Disney movie where he's like pretends to be a bank or a painting thief.
Yeah,
he is incredible, unbelievable. So yeah, I'm gonna check this out 100%.
I do. I really, this is up your alley, and it's like it was funny watching him in this because like there's no music, and he's a pretty like straightforward guy in the whole film, but he's so goddamn charming. And you're like, this movie is full of technically like bad people, but they're all so goddamn charming and are led by him. Damn it. I'm rooting for the bad guys.
Yeah.
There's no real bad guy in the movie, that's always like kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a good movie. Like I love it when I get to just sit down and watch just a good movie. Like it's just fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very positive. I like that. All right, my next movie, I was very excited about when I first saw it and heard of it. Like, I'd never heard of it until I got it in the spin, obviously.
What is that?
It's called The Monster of Camp Sunshine, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Nature.
What the shit?
Doesn't that sound exciting?
That sounds like, okay, it sounds like it's just going to be very silly, very kind of Doctor Strange lovey, but with like camping or something.
It's
an anti-drug movie.
It's not that. I had that last time, I think. But it is kind of campy or intentionally. It's in black and white. It's in this 4:3 format the whole time.
Okay.
And there are parts where there's obviously kind of like stylized. So there's parts where there's like like in silent films where they'll have a black title card with white text and it's like, oh, this is happening kind of thing. Yeah, it does that even though the movie's in sound. So it has like kind of narration through these black silent movie title cards. So it's kind of fun like this. It does that.
Okay.
It's about, let me back up because it's already way down the road. It's about these two girls who are roommates. And this one is a model and kind of the narrator of the movie. This one is her friend, or I guess roommate, who she didn't know until she became roommates and they become friends. She is a nurse at some like science-y testing laboratory kind of place.
Okay.
But what you don't know until later is that this girl, not this girl. Hold on, I missed it.
Jake,
this girl.
It is cracking me up how you just keep like stopping the trailer and going back,
playing the same part over and over.
It is cracking up like Jake. Just let the trailer play.
The thing about this movie is that, well, I think it's going to show you like a progression. So I'm trying to like control.
Oh, you're trying to keep up. You're trying to keep up.
Yeah, exactly. This girl is also a nudist.
She's wearing Okay.
And so she goes to Camp Sunshine to be nude with other people. And this is a thing that she does. And her roommate, the model girl, is she's not a huge fan of nudity. Like, she has to be a model, and so she like has to like get down into like her underwear, but she refuses to like do a topless swimsuit for this guy.
Okay.
But her friend's a nudist, and she finds her nudist magazines, which apparently is a thing, and she's like learning about nudist culture, which I guess is also a thing. And so she's like, yeah, sure, totally, let's go to Camp Sunshine together, and she'll try out nudity, and she ends up liking it. So there's a lot of nudity in this movie is what I'm getting at.
So basically, once again, Jake's movies give him some nudity.
Yeah. The point of the movie is that Camp Sunshine is a nudist camp, and they go there to be nudists together.
Well, that was a butt.
Yeah, there is a butt in this. There is a lot in this. There's boobs and there's all kinds of stuff. But the monster part of it is unfortunately underdone. I was more excited for that, when did this come out? This is from the 1964.
Okay.
So I was excited for like a 60s campy, flat, like a slasher movie. There's not really a monster. The thing is that the what's it called? The like sciencey place that she works at, they have like rats.
I have to watch this guy throw that bottle in the river one more time.
Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna play it again.
Jake, you're killing me. Jake, you're murdering me.
So this guy,
God damn it, Jake.
This guy,
you son of a bitch.
This guy has this. He's a scientist. You can tell by his lab coat.
I'm gonna smack you someday.
This guy, he works at a laboratory with that roommate.
Okay.
And they have a rat that goes a little bit feral. And so they're like, oh, we shouldn't use that serum or whatever they were giving him that made him feral. So he decides to dispose of it by tossing it into the water.
Goddamn river.
If you didn't guess, he throws it into the water.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this guy, friend or
dude,
the brother of some girl that works at Camp Sunshine, which is very nearby, drinks the contaminated water and becomes the monster of Camp Sunshine. Unfortunately, his monster is just like some makeup, and they decide to close the camp, chain him up in a building, and don't tell the girls that's about to come visit. So they come to visit Camp Sunshine and realize they don't realize until it's too late there's a guy there. And she's wearing underpants. That's not really
a butt. It was a butt.
Totally wearing
a G-string is not underpants.
No, it's like it's black and white. She's like pinkish colored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're just like sheer, so you can see right through it.
Whatever.
It's a butt.
So
folks, it's a butt. They have to put like hey, there's nudity in this episode because during the Schizoid preview, you could see a boob.
You could see a boob.
That's on our show.
There's a.
What
I don't know.
Fuck?
I don't know if that was like a thing. Hold on. Where's that title? Oh, hold on. There's a title card that says something about Motley Crue, and I was like, Motley Crue?
Photographed and edited by Motley Crue.
I think that's like
obviously
the band.
That's not the band. The band wasn't around until the 80s.
Are you sure?
Oh my god.
Just because they were big in the 80s doesn't mean they didn't start until
hair metal band.
I'm going to assume it's the hair metal band Motley Crue made this movie.
No, it's not. Motley Crue, the band, spells Crue Crue.
That's what they did.
No, it's not.
Literally,
Shit, it is. Fuck.
there's not an. I think they do like an umlaut over the
they do.
U, but it doesn't have that. So I guess is the only difference. So it's possible, allegedly by the band Motley Crue, before they were a big band. So that's even better. But the thing about this movie is, if you go into it excited for it to be a 60s slasher movie at a nudist camp, you'll get a lot of nudist camp and not much monster and no slasher. So this guy, spoiler alert, creeps around the camp. They go for a whole hour before they get to the camp for the time where there's a monster.
Mm. I am listening. I'm looking up Motley Crue, the monster of camp.
I appreciate that. I do need to know. So find out. This guy creeps around. He doesn't do much the entire time. He's the worst monster of all time. He does step into a bear trap at one point, which I think they show right here. Boom, stepped into a bear trap.
He
the slowest bear trap of all time.
He did the most purposeful step in that trap of all time.
Watch it go like this. Very slowly.
Well, they're not going to let it slam real time.
So he steps in the trap and decides, oh no, I shouldn't kill these girls because I'm in a trap. And then later they kind of fight him off, and he's like, oh no, I can't. I don't want to put up with the fight, and goes away. And then they show a little bit of it where this army shows up. The ending is very weird, where there's a very long sequence where the army shows up, which is this guy with the bullhorn, and then stock footage of actual military guys going through basic training, crawling under barbed wire, diving into foxholes and digging trenches, and all of this military maneuvers and equipment and stuff. It's a lot for this one idiot with chains around his neck and an axe, who hasn't killed anybody yet, for the record. And it just goes a little bit crazy. And then that guy who was, I think, the doctor who decided to come to the nudist camp with them and do drugs, he shoots pistols, and then he shoots a Thompson submachine gun, and then he throws dynamite, and it's pretty wild. And nobody dies. Nobody gets injured. They end up eliminating the monster threat, and then decide to go be nude, and not anything happens. It's very anticlimactic, and I expected a lot more from the monster of Camp Sunshine, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Nature.
Right. By the way, Motley Crue on IMDb, it literally just says Motley Crue without the shit. There's the camera. Without the shit. And it says cinematographer / editor or editor. Nothing of the band. It's not the band way. It is not the 1980s hair metal band.
All right. Well,
you lose.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're the most official.
And it's official. It's official. The band didn't do it. It's official.
Does Motley Crue, the band, have a page on IMDb?
No. Why would the band?
Maybe this is their page. It's the only page they have. If there's another Motley Crue page, I would understand, but that doesn't sound like it's the case.
It's not them. I think we have solved that mystery.
It's still open, I would say.
Whoop whoop! I win. Whoop whoop!
Let's move on. I don't recommend it. I was underwhelmed. I expected more. To be fair, my expectations were fairly high based on the title. But
dude, I got real excited about that title, and then you said what it was about, and I'm kind of sad.
They spent a lot of time being nude and filming nudity, and it's kind of one of those kinds of movies.
I think. And
also, the thing about the 60s,
free love.
Well, there's that, but people were weird looking back then. I don't know what it is, but especially naked people, it's your hair's weird on your head. You're hairstyles are weird, but also bodies are weird, boobs are weird, everything's kind of weird looking. So it wasn't really like enjoyable as a nudist movie either. Overall, pass, hard pass.
All right. People looked weird in the 60s.
It's true.
Yeah.
I defy you to disagree.
I'm not arguing. Wow, we're already at number one.
Number one.
All right, so my number one, I had to laugh at the irony of it. So I was like, of course. My daughter was super stoked that I had to watch this movie. She thought it was perfect. She was so happy. Wanted me to let her know when I watched it. And I was kind of like,
it's interesting that it's a movie that she's heard of.
Yes, not only heard of it, but she has seen it.
Yeah,
because it is a very specific style of movie. So it's an anime.
Ooh.
Yep, it's that top one. And she was trying to tell me a little bit about it. She's like, Dad, it's really sad. It's gonna beat you up in the feels really hard. And I was like, oh, really? And she goes, seriously, if you don't get sad during this movie, there's something wrong with you. And I was like, oh, joy. So I popped this movie on. For those listening, I've never been a big anime fan. My daughter loves anime, so I support her fandom with it. And I've found some that I'm like, all right, that's not too bad, right? Like, whatever. We watched Akira.
We did.
Which neither of us hated. We actually ended up kind of having a little bit of respect for just because we saw so much influence that it's had. Mm-hmm. That being said, I fucking loved this movie.
Really?
It is beautiful. It is heartbreaking. It's kind of hard to watch during some of the stuff that happens in it because it's pretty like upfront about stuff.
Yeah.
The lessons the movie actually deals with are pretty heavy issues that I think are really important for today's age. So the film is about this guy. Well, now you can't see him. That dude. That guy. When he's in sixth grade, he bullies a deaf girl who is
sixth grade.
Sixth grade, yeah. So that scene right there that you saw him, he's a junior in high school.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think they're a junior in high school. They talk about turning 18, and I was like, is Japanese math different than our math? And I just didn't want to try to figure it out, so I just let the movie be. But anyways, they do make it a point in sixth grade. This new girl shows up to their school, and she happens to be deaf. And because she's different, this boy and some of the other kids that he's friends with bully her, and he takes it way too far.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where she ends up, not only does she get physically injured, but she also like moves away. Like she just takes off, and her moving away kind of resets the rest of the class where they realize like, wow, we're all kind of shit, but he really took it too far because he really does. And so he ends up becoming ostracized and bullied himself because of how he treated her. And so the movie does kind of a time jump at that point. Wow, that was really a good transition when I said time jump. Where he is trying to navigate life now, where he is in complete self-loathing. He's trying to like make amends, but he has no clue how to actually make amends. He sees her again. And that kind of helps get him moving around. The movie does some cool things where you saw in that shot, he doesn't make eye contact with like 99% of the characters in this movie because he feels so much shame for what he did. And the movie ends up being really kind of about not only kind of redeeming yourself after making mistakes, but also more importantly, learning how to like forgive yourself, for people learning how it's okay to forgive and help move on and grow from mistakes. Obviously, if it's like too big of a one, fuck that. But like mistakes that you can grow and learn from and improve your life from. The movie really focuses on that being super important to our kind of survival. It also deals a lot with like kind of finding peace with who you are as a person, being okay with yourself and all that, which not in a woke culture kind of way, but in a very just natural kind of way, which I really appreciated. The movie, like, and the cinematography in this movie was like, Jesus Christ, some of this is just gorgeous. Yeah. But the story is really well told. It's very slow, but I was happy that it's really slow because it takes its time telling this full story. And as he so the people around him, their faces all have X's on them. Yeah, I saw that's how he views, like, that's the only way he can see him. And as he allows himself to be kind of open to interacting with people, the X's literally like peel and fall off of their faces. And then he has a couple characters that he realizes they're not great people, and the X's slap right back onto their face, which I thought was a cool way of just kind of showing like how this dude is viewing the world and how he thinks the world might view him. Yeah. It's honestly like, and I haven't ever said this before, but I fucking love this movie, and it being an anime really, like, I don't know. It does add something to kind of the emotional aspect of it, the drama of the story. Yeah. I was shocked when this movie ended. I was like, oh my God. I texted my daughter and was like, well, I just finished A Silent Voice. Holy shit. She was like, I know, right? And I was like, that was a great movie. I thoroughly loved this movie. It was beautiful. It's definitely one that'll beat you up in the feels. But I think it's kind of an important film. Jake, I know you're not one to go for the super dramatic, so it's probably not up your alley, but I think you would respect a lot of what it does say.
Yeah. Well, I'm also not an anime fan like you described before. And when I first saw the trailer, I was like, this looks terrible and stupid. But the more I watch it, I'm like, it actually looks kind of good. Like, I totally like the effects and the depth, and the anime style actually is kind of cool.
Yeah, it hits on, it also touches on the subject of suicide, and what can kind of lead to people wanting to end their lives early. It talks about that a lot. It's not perfect. There are some clunky moments, but it is what it is. Yeah. They definitely didn't take anything from the overall power of the story. It was incredible. I couldn't believe, like, when it ended that I was like, fuck, I loved an anime movie. I've never loved an anime movie before, but here it was. And I did have to laugh, and I was like, Jake might chuckle at me and be like, of course you like the anime that's got no magic in it. It has nothing to do with like supernatural stuff. It's pure drama. Like, we want to force as many audience members to cry as they can.
It's very emotional.
I was like, Jake would probably get a kick out of that's the anime I gravitate to.
Yeah.
So that was the 10th one that I watched, and it was my favorite out of the 10. I was so happy I got to finish this random list off with one that I was like, bravo.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to finally have like a high point at the end.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing. My last movie I liked, I think, the most overall. And I have heard of a version of this movie, but I didn't even know.
I feel like you've probably seen a version of this movie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you have.
My last random movie is called Walking Tall. And when I got it, I was like, oh, I have to spin again. I've seen Walking Tall, obviously, with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Right.
And then I was like, whoa, hold on.
Whoa.
This is from 1973. I didn't even know that Dwayne The Rock Johnson remade this movie.
Yeah.
And so, there apparently are 3 different movies with this guy, who you will know as, hold on, I have it right here, Joe Don Baker, he's probably he's a character actor. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff, but he is also CIA agent Jack Wade in GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, he is.
He's
not fat.
He's not fat. He's quite svelte, you could say. And he does the classic walking tall thing, obviously, where he has a big stick that he carries around. The funny thing is, I didn't get this from the Rock's version. Also, the Rock's version changes the name of the main character.
Oh, really?
The Rock's version, his main character is named, hold on, I also have this written down, Chris Vaughn. The main character in Walking Tall and in all the versions, other versions of Walking Tall, his name is Buford Pusser.
Oh, that's a terrible name.
Yeah, it's not great. He's from Tennessee. Buford.
No offense if there's a Buford out there. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, I thought you were saying it about Pusser.
That name too. Pusser is real bad too.
I had to
sorry
listen closely to the movie. I was like, is it Pusser? Pusser? I don't know. But so it's Buford the Bull Pusser because he was a wrestler.
Oh,
it's actually a biography based on a real guy who was a wrestler in Tennessee, and he moved home with his wife and started a business with his dad, and then realized that the whole city was like super corrupt. Like, but when I say city, I mean like small town, like Virginia, Tennessee town. And it's like they've got like prostitution ring and this gambling ring that's like loaded. Like his friend loses money and then realizes like the dice is loaded. And then he tries to like get justice from this like corrupt game that's happening in the town, and realizes that the cops are in on it and they're like in the take and all this stuff. And so this is actually the shortest trailer of all time, but he decides to like try to fight this corruption in it, and uses this big stick to like actually fight these people. And it's kind of badass. Like I really enjoyed this movie specifically for like the action scenes and the for a movie from the 70s. It's from 1973, so early 70s. There's a lot of good violence as far as the blood makeup and effects and stuff is actually pretty good.
Okay.
Like the squibs is specifically not just for like the gunshots and stuff, but when he like hits someone in the back of the head with his thing, there's like blood on their head and all this stuff. So it's a cool movie, and the scope of it is really good. So like he goes through this whole journey of moving back to this town, discovering that it's kind of like changed over time. His old high school friends have kind of changed, discovering the sheriff's corrupt, trying to get justice for them kind of framing him. He goes to prison, and then him getting like, he tries to like, he fights the system and ends up winning, becoming the sheriff of the town, and then trying to like clean up the town by being the sheriff while also fighting the actual like embedded, not really a mob, but just like these people who have been doing this for so long, they've got their like fingers and everything. And then there's also like this outside influence from these other towns that are like trying to like get him to like just go along with stuff. You'll be in on the take, like it's profitable for you, all this stuff. And he's trying to stand up with high moral character and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very entertaining. His friend, he meets initially, he's an old tag team friend. So the sad part for me does have a guy who's a wrestler, and his friend is his old tag team partner. There's no actual wrestling in the movie. They just mention, "Oh, I used to be a wrestler."
Don't be sad about that. It's not an actual sad moment. Jake just
it's sad for me. Wrestling. This is my opinion about the movie.
I'm not judging you. Not judging you.
But his old tag team partner, he becomes like a deputy, and when he becomes sheriff, and they try to clean up the town together, and they deal with like some of the other deputies are kind of like still informing of the bad contingent, so he has to like suss them out. It's very entertaining. I want to see the 2 other sequels to it because I enjoyed it quite a bit. If you like 70s action, if you like, I got the vibe of like it could have been Burt Reynolds, it could have been like any kind of like movie like that.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of cool that they went with someone who wasn't the manly man, or you know what I mean? Like they went with someone that could be an everyday man instead of trying to go like the Rock version, where it's like, well, obviously the Rock is going to beat up everybody. Oh, you gave him a stick. He's really going to beat everybody up. Although saying that and making fun of it, I do remember kind of enjoying Walking Tall with Dwayne Johnson. I don't really remember the movie, but I remember being like, oh, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I did know it was a remake, but I've never seen the original. So
Rolling Stone said it was the best American movie of the year.
Best American movie. You know what my favorite part of this whole trailer is, Jake?
What?
That shot right there. Because I'm a sucker for those theater shots in trailers where they're like, this is the movie. Look what it does to audiences. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah. This guy is standing up.
Like standing ovation.
Because he's so excited about the movie and its message.
It's one of two things, Jake. It's either this studio's paying me so much money for this promo.
Yeah.
Or it's stock footage from some speech that the studio bought.
Yeah,
or like
that's exactly what I was going to say. This is from the Oscars the year before.
No, it's not. No one stood up for those.
It was the 60s. Someone probably stood up. And he's the only guy. It's this guy and this lady behind him. I was going to say,
hey, that person there is standing up.
Everybody else is sitting there like, that was all right.
Like,
that was pretty good.
Fucking doofus. What is he doing?
He loved it. It spoke to him personally.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes that happens. I can't knock that. Sometimes there are some movies that hit real close and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. And then people next to you are like, I don't get the hype. And you're like, you're insane. You're out of your fucking mind. All right.
Yeah. The one warning I will say to people who may be interested in seeing this movie, there is a point where his family dog does get killed. He runs out to fight these people attacking his house, and he does live, but his dog does not, and it is very sad. He's covered in blood, but it's a cool movie.
Yeah. What is it about when like pets are killed in a film or on TV that audiences unanimously are like most heartbreaking part of the whole story?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's they're so innocent is probably part of it. That
True.
They're not like, oh, either you deserved it or you should have known better to not get in that situation.
But okay, but I'm going to hit you with another one. Like, what about, like, even in Cujo, I mean, you feel bad for the dog because it's got rabies. It can't really control itself. You feel bad for like, you're afraid of the dog, but you feel bad for the dog.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not really his fault that he's a monster of that movie.
But he's psychotic and he's like trying to kill a mom and her son.
Yeah.
And he does kill a few other people. That story's so cool. I fucking love Cujo. It's so good. It's so good.
Maybe we'll do an episode on it. I don't think I've ever seen it. Really? I know a lot about it. It's one of those like classic movies I've heard a lot about.
Yeah, you just never watched. Yeah. Like the movie is good, and not to sound like a total pompous ass, but man, that book is fucking excellent. I will tell you that right now. Cujo the book is great.
All right.
Anyways, so that was our random 10. That was pretty good.
It was a good time.
This was a pretty good list. I was happy that I got some super cheese ball. Just what the fuck am I watching? I do get a kick out of those.
Oh, I'm gonna watch Sheborg tonight,
dude. You're gonna get a kick out of Sheborg. You're gonna get a kick out of Fitzwilly.
Mm-hmm. I didn't download Fitzwilly for sure.
I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I really hated Desert Blue. That movie was so dumb. Fucking that's just a bad movie.
Yeah, the thing about this is that there are highs and lows.
Yeah,
and I don't know if the lows make the highs feel even better, because I do feel like you put on a movie and you've watched a couple bad movies so far, and you really want this one to be good.
Like, just be like, I'll take mediocre at this point.
If it's even passable or mediocre, you're like, this movie is great. I love it. Thank you. But it does make you like appreciate, because we watch so many good movies. Pretty much every movie that comes into the theater is pretty good. Like, it may not be specifically for you, but it's not bad, obviously.
Right.
So you kind of get desensitized. You're like, you can't really make a bad movie. Like, it's so easy to make good movies. They're all pretty good. And then you go back to like actual low budget, first starting out, trying to figure it out, TV movies, all this stuff. And you're like, ooh, actually, they like, take a lot of skill.
Really, you know what? It's pretty easy to make a real bad movie. I'm looking at you, Casey Affleck. I'm fucking looking at you. I don't know what it is about a few of your movies.
You know, it's hard though.
Think about it.
Becoming a famous multi-million-dollar. I'm sure he's been paid millions of dollars. He won an Oscar. I mean, he's an Oscar.
I think he's like a multiple Oscar winner.
Yeah. So award-winning, Academy Award-winning actor that both of us don't like.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
But he's such a... See, you know what the problem is?
Okay, here's the rant.
Like, his movie, Desert Blue, he's not even the main guy in the movie. The movie sucked and he happens to be in it. His character's kind of obnoxious and dumb. But like, the more I'm like, God, Casey Affleck, like, I'm just not a fan of his. You know why? I'm like, God, because immediately my brain goes to Manchester by the Sea. And that is one of the worst films of all time.
Yeah, it is.
And just that movie popping into my brain is like infuriating, because I want to forget that movie even exists, but I can't because my brain hates me.
There's a movie with him and hold on while I do some Googling. There's a movie with him and I want to say Jessica Alba. Hold on, Casey Affleck.
Combination.
Well, there's like rape involved, and I remember it being like a very awkward movie that I was not a fan of at all. Oh, he's in Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. That's a good movie.
He is the coward.
That. He is, but the movie overall is good.
Yeah. I'll give him that.
Yes, The Killer Inside Me with Jessica Alba and Kate Hudson and Casey Affleck. I watched that movie one time and I hated every minute of it.
I've never seen it.
It's the worst. So that's all the more reason to add fuel to the fire.
I don't get it, Casey. I don't get it.
You have a famous brother, and that's apparently why you're getting roles.
Dude, I wonder if they're like, is it in the genes? And some of Hollywood is like, hell yeah. And then there's people like me that are
we need Ben Affleck. We need Ben Affleck, but we need to spend about $20 million less, so let's get Casey Affleck.
There was ever a time where we need Ben Affleck was a thing that is being proven. It is in the DCEU at the moment. But that's for another time. I'm stoked for that. I'm actually wondering if that's the real reason for these delays, by the way.
That'd be nice.
Because they're switching a bunch of stuff up, and apparently our boy Henry has put the cape back on.
I don't know about this. What?
Nothing's confirmed, but apparently he has filmed something, either for Black Adam or for something else. But apparently he has put the cape back on.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's for Black Adam, because Shazam was so like, oh, there's Superman, but there's not really Superman.
They're supposed to, like, it's supposed to happen. It needs to happen. Anyways, other episode.
If they let Cavill go and don't let him be Superman, it's the biggest mistake of all time.
It's the dumbest thing they could do. Dumbest thing. Well, next episode should be fun. It should be pretty epic. It should be quite the journey.
Mm-hmm. One of the most epic journeys of all time, you could say.
If not the most epic.
Yep.
I think it is widely known as the trilogy that actually gives the OG trilogy quite the run for its money when it comes to pop culture and fandom.
Yeah.
So Jake and I, we've actually talked about this for a little while. We're going to dive into Middle Earth with the Rings of Power coming out on Prime at some point.
No,
sooner than we both realized.
September 2nd, I think. Yeah, I thought it was end of September. I thought we had more time. Realized it's early September, it's the 2nd, and I was like, oh shit, we need to do a Lord of the Rings episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to watch some of at least the Rings of Power before then.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
So we're gonna dive into it. I don't know if it's really gonna be a deep dive. I mean, I imagine it might be.
At least talking about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, probably the Hobbit some too, the Hobbit trilogy. Yeah. We don't have to watch all of them, but I want to at least compare and contrast. They're part of the same universe. And also, we specifically left those movies out of our Peter Jackson episode because we were talking about Big Bad Taste the whole time because it's amazing.
Because Bad Taste fucking kicks ass.
So, finally getting around to doing Lord of the Rings and Peter Jackson's massive epic.
I've got that movie. I fucking love that trilogy. I know widely loved by people. I have found myself when I interact with someone who's like, oh, I've never seen Lord of the Rings. My immediate thought is like, you fucking idiot. And then I have to rein that in and be like, okay, so you're deprived. I have to pity you. And they're like, I just don't like that stuff. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. And I'm like, nope.
That's such a bizarre take to have you been under a rock? I don't understand how that's possible.
I'm stoked for it. I love that trilogy. I've been excited to do it, and then it's been a while since I watched Lord of the Rings, but I've got a lot to say, man. I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you guys. I have a lot to go on with Lord of the Rings because the movie is. I love that trilogy.
Oh wow! I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't, and I am going to try to get at least that first episode because I think Prime does weekly release as well.
Possibly.
So I'm going to hopefully get the trilogy and that one episode at least watched. I can't guarantee I'm going to watch The Hobbit because that movie's...
Movies, 3 of them. Before we get to it, before it comes out, what is your anticipation of Rings of Power? Do you have any preconceived feelings?
I'm nervous. I think I'm a little hesitant. I'm trying not to be hesitant. I'm a little hesitant because the Middle-earth trilogy, it generally means a lot to me, and I love the books, and I love the movies. And I think they've had such a profound impact, not just on pop culture and life and all that, but filmmaking in general. Peter Jackson just became a master to it. He knew this world, he knew the story for it, and he knew how to tell the story in that kind of medium. A lot of people freak out that he took out a bunch of stuff from the books. I honestly never hold that against him because the way that he tells the story is just, it's so good.
The books are so dense.
Yeah, and I'm hesitant on this one because it's based on lore that Tolkien created, but never put into full story form. And judging from the preview looks cool, but just judging from it, it feels like they're going to try and do a lot of creating stuff that was never actually a part of the story or the history.
Yeah.
And I'm a little because as masterful as Peter Jackson is, he tried doing that same thing with the Hobbit trilogy, which is why the Hobbit trilogy is So.
You took 3 dense books and made 3 dense movies initially, and then took one very short book and turned it into 3 movies, and nobody cared.
And it was like, what are you doing? Not everyone. I know a lot of people that love that trilogy. I'm not one, but I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
If anything, it'll be neat to see Galadriel's younger days, I guess, and Sauron's beginnings. I suppose. I think that's where it's supposed to take place, but I don't know. I'm not crazy versed in the Lord of the Rings lore.
Yeah.
I imagine we might get some novels from people telling us what we're wrong about.
You've never read the Silmarillion?
I have not. I have not.
Noob.
Although we both know people that own it, have read it, have like know it by heart.
Tolkien fans are like on another level. Like there's fantasy fans, and then there's Tolkien
fans. Like, folks, you thought Game of Thrones was a massive, like, holy shit? No.
No. Game of Thrones is for plebs.
The OG. But I'm stoked for that episode. That's going to be a good episode.
Yeah, I am. You're cautiously optimistic. My guard is firmly up. Like I am. Like I don't need it. I don't want you to ruin anything. And I also am concerned that you're trying to make it into Amazon's Game of Thrones, and it's probably. I mean, it's not that. So
it's not that.
Don't do that. So I'll watch it, but I don't anticipate that it will be like the movies, and I don't anticipate that I'll like it. So
yeah, I would be very shocked if it has even a shred of like the emotional impact that Lord of the Rings itself actually has.
Right.
Like, every fucking time I watch that trilogy. Like, it's insane. Very crazy. But that's for the next episode. So brace yourselves, folks. Rewatch the trilogy. It should be a good discussion. I think there's some cool stuff to like talk about with, and I'm excited to get into some of that. So
we'll try to avoid it being 8 hours or whatever it ends up being for those first 3 movies. We'll avoid that.
It's going to be a 2-parter, guys. It's going to be a 2-parter.
Maybe 3. We'll see.
maybe we'll pull a Peter Jackson and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
3 episodes, 3 hours each. We'll call it good. I'm kidding.
We're not doing that. Don't worry. It'll be fine.
Don't
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
So go get your Boners Day clock stuff.
Yep.
If you missed out on the OG merch,
sorry, sucks for you.
Sucks to be you, I guess.
Yeah. I got it, so I'm good.
Right. Like, we got our hoodies, we got our glasses, we got our shirts. You're over it.
It's also ours, so we can make it whatever we want.
Shh, they're not supposed to know.
We're the 1%. I don't know.
Oh no! Oh no!
Just kidding.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, for watching, enjoying.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, and thanks for telling your friends.
Yeah,
it helps a lot.
We've gotten some comments on like our Jupiter ascending.
Yeah, we did.
My favorite one was, I forget who it was, but their one comment to us making fun of like the weird bestiality stuff in the movie. The one comment was like, well, I liked it. It's like, oh no. No offense, man. You're cool.
Do you like the movie, or do you just like?
Did you like this?
The docs. So I had to clarify. It turns out he just liked the sci-fi technology and stuff. Yeah. So don't worry.
But that's been fun to see people's reactions to that. So thank you again. Spread the word. Keep telling people about it. We appreciate you guys. We really do.
Yeah, we do. We wouldn't be here without you. We appreciate it a lot. All right. We will see you all next time.
Thank you, guys.